You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Southgate Real Talk. I'm your host for this podcast, Robert Montalvo. And as always, I like to begin every episode by thanking you for listening, for downloading this podcast, for sharing what we talk about on this podcast. Also wanted to take a moment to thank some of our neighboring cities, people listening in from like Bell, Lakewood, Linwood. Thank you for tuning in and sharing this as well. A lot of what we talk about here kind of relates to the cities you live in also. So this episode, I'm really going to reflect on a lot of things, some personal about myself, some not. But I also want to mention that I'm going to take a week off. So the next episode will be dropping on January 12th of 2021. And just like everybody else probably, I can't wait till 2020 is done with. It's been a really tough year for everybody, including myself. There's been a lot of tragedy for everybody, and hopefully it gets better. You know, I was just looking at the news earlier, and they mentioned something that they never considered before, which is triaging people. And what that means is they basically go by priority. So if somebody comes in with a gunshot wound and somebody else is having breathing problems, I mean, they need to make a choice right there of who gets treatment first. That's how bad it's getting. And that's pretty scary because, you know, if you go into the hospital with something like that, even like a heart attack, I mean, there's a chance that they're going to prioritize somebody ahead of you. And that's really scary. So, you know, I'm pretty much just going to reiterate what everybody's been saying is, you know, stay home, stay safe. Try to stay away from folks you don't know, because this COVID-19 is real, and it's not going away anytime soon. But with that said, this weekend I was out on Skid Row, and normally I did this quite often before the pandemic, but lately I haven't been able to go down. So I go with this group, this nonprofit that hands out like toiletries, sanitation items, and we break up into like groups of 2 or 3 people. And the reason why I bring this up is I met somebody this past weekend. Her name's Gloria. She's a marketing major at UCLA right now. And you know, as we're walking, you know, we're talking stuff like that, and it's pretty weird. She's actually the younger sister of a friend of mine uh, from a while back. So I was just like kind of amazed, you know, when you get that nostalgic feeling, and it's kind of like a small world. So as I'm talking to her, um, you know, we're talking. I was mentioning the show and some of the things I do out there, and you know what? It was pretty funny. She lives in Linwood, and she was aware of some of the things that we do here. So she was kind of like just telling me like I should market myself better, and I started thinking about that, like market myself better, and it hit me in a different way where I was thinking, you know, all the things I do, I'm not really doing them for attention, for myself anyway. If I do happen to bring something out, that's to promote that particular nonprofit or service or like giveaway or whatever's helping to benefit people. You know, my main thing is to connect with my community, to connect with other people. So she was and again, I think she was speaking from like a marketing type of thing. And as I was like I said, as the conversation went on, I was just thinking like, I call out people that do this for the wrong reasons. So I wouldn't hand somebody like I was doing that day, hand them toiletries and say, "Hey, let me take a selfie with you to show that I'm doing a good job." That's not, to me, that's not why you do it. But a lot of people I know or that I see on social media do just that. And that's so, to me, that's very disingenuous, especially if I know where they're coming from. And obviously, sometimes you do take pictures, and that's to promote that particular event. So I get that aspect of it, but there's a lot of people that just do it to, like a photo op. Just look at me, look at what I'm doing. And that doesn't resonate really well with me. And it shouldn't be done. Personally, I wasn't very fortunate as a youngster growing up, but I remember a lot of the things that happened when I was younger. Uh, I was fortunate that we were sponsored by a police detective from LAPD. And I was really young. I think I was like 7, maybe, or 8, around there. But I still remember the looks on my parents' faces when they did bring gifts over or help. And I could hear my parents talking to each other, like very disappointed in themselves that they couldn't provide for us, the way they felt they should. So that that really hits home for me, and that's one of the reasons why I don't like taking photos while I'm doing things out in the community. That's kind of what hit me when she had mentioned it, or when that subject was brought up, because it's kind of tasteless to me to do that, because that's self-promoting, and again, that's not why I do it. That's not why I think people should do it, but they do. It's a good thing to help somebody else out, and you're doing it for the right reasons. But for as many people that do things for the wrong reasons, there are 10 times as many that are doing it for the right reasons. And I was really fortunate to meet a teacher here in Southgate recently. I should say recent, probably like a couple of months ago. And she teaches at one of our elementary schools here in Southgate. I sponsor a family, sometimes 2 or 3 every year, that are struggling, even before COVID. So what I do is I'll go out and buy gifts for the kids, the family, and I'll try and help them out throughout the year as much as I can. And things I feel happen for a reason. Nothing happens by chance. I took my daughter with me on the ride over to deliver the gifts that we got for them. But one, because I want her to see how it is to help people. That was my main focus on doing that. I want to expose her to seeing what I do out in the community, what I do to help other people. And again, not to say that I'm the only one doing it, because there is a lot of people doing a lot of different things. But for this, I wanted her to see. So I saw the little boy, and they're immigrants, and they just came not too long ago to the United States. They did everything legally legit, and it's really eye-opening when you see somebody else in a situation like that. And as I spoke to the father, I could see the look that my father had when that detective would bring over gifts and help us out. And I could see the look in his eyes, the expression on his face when that happened, and it just took me back to being 6 or 7 or 8 years old, and seeing the look on my father's face, on my mom's face. I looked at my daughter, who was who really surprised me because she obviously she didn't get out of the car, but she was looking through the window, and I could see her kind of just taking everything in and comprehending what we were doing there that night. And not just as a father, but as a teacher to my daughter, it makes you feel good sometimes that you're teaching good things, good lessons on how to help your fellow man. Now, I'm not rich by any means at all, but if I have something extra or I can help somebody, I absolutely will. And not to stray away from the story that I'm trying to tell you, it's there's a lot of need out in this community, not just in Southgate, but everywhere. And, if you can, try and help somebody out. Even if it's something small, it doesn't matter what it is, but there are families struggling out there right now. And so as this podcast kind of grows, I'm already getting tongue tied right now because I never thought it would go this far this fast right now. But it's good to know that we're resonating with each other, that we all want to know the truth. We all want to change what's going on in our cities. We all want to make a difference. And that's the main focus that I have right here. So that's one thing I'm really excited about, is that growing factor. And as we grow in this podcast, I'll make sure that we have different platforms for you to get this information and subjects that we talk about. So I'll be right back. And welcome back. I like to share everything that happens, especially regarding this podcast and show. So recently I was approached. I was sent an email and some corresponding text and stuff from somebody that wanted to sponsor and actually advertise on this podcast. Now, it's a great thing. They wanted to pay for some spots on here, and then I started thinking. First of all, I didn't start doing this to make any kind of money. That wasn't the purpose of it. My purpose was to send information out and to talk about issues and things and events that are any businesses that are in Southgate. That was the main focus of me doing this podcast. It was never to make any kind of profit on it, and that's not what I'm here for. So going back to this, as I was communicating with this person about it, two things hit me. The first one was I couldn't sponsor or be involved with something that I don't believe in. And this particular business, I don't believe in at all. In fact, it would be contradictory to what I speak about. So that was one thing. The main thing is this is our podcast. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to us. This is something that we share our issues with, our ideas. We talk about things here. And I don't want to lose that. I don't want to have any other entity involved sponsoring or segment wise or anything like that. I want it just to be us, you and I, talking, and yeah, I'm not gonna deviate from that. I really do feel that this is something that we have, and it's not going to change. That is absolutely not going to change. So I realized that right away. That's what keeps this podcast going. Honestly, it's just the conversations that we have with each other. And I'm not going to jeopardize any of the integrity of the subjects or discussions that we do have on here, because that means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to you. I see it in your emails and comments and messages that you send. That is not going to happen. I'm not going to okay a sponsor for this, especially one that I do not agree with, and something that'll jeopardize the relationship that you and I have when we talk about things. I want it to be 100% transparent. I don't want to have anything hanging over what we talk about, and I don't want to have any doubts of where I'm coming from when I say something or bring a subject up, or a subject that you bring up that we talk about on here. So that was one thing I wanted to share with you, and it's kind of it's a good thing in a sense that where people are listening to us, they're listening to what you have to say. So I'll look at that positively as a good thing. But other than that, my main focus has always been you. It's always been sharing information, connecting with you, connecting with everybody in the community. Not just in Southgate. But like I said before, we have other people tuning in from other neighboring cities, which is great. But not going to change, or not, I should say, I'm not going to challenge the integrity of what this show is about. And that is you and I appreciate that so much, because it gives us the freedom to talk about anything happening without any recourse at all. So continuing with that, on the show, there's actually a couple of people that are going to be contributing. Hector, Renee, and Gloria, who I mentioned before, who lives in Linwood. So, like I said, I'm going to take a week off. We'll be back on a new episode on January 12th. I'm going to explore putting this podcast on different platforms like YouTube, Twitter, even somebody suggested like a Twitch also. And welcome back. This segment is dedicated to you, to answering your questions from emails, comments, and messages from our Facebook page and Instagram. Again, that is facebook.com/Southgate Real Talk. On Instagram, it is instagram.com Southgate Real Talk, one word. Same thing if you search it or punch it in on that Instagram app. The email is southgaterealtalk@yahoo.com. Again, that is southgaterealtalk@yahoo.com. So let's get started on this. The first question is, how do I get people who are in charge of my city to pay attention to the problems we have here? And that comes from Frank in the city of Bell. Frank, just like anything, the first thing to do is to contact your city council, find out who they are. I'm sure your city has a website where it'll identify each and every city council member, as well as staff on there that are in charge, like the city manager, public works. So it's depending on who you want to talk to or what you want to get their attention about. So, but the first step is always getting in touch with your city council, and that information is almost always posted on the website, at least an email and a phone number. So you can always call in, and I believe it always goes to City Hall, where you can leave a message at. But yeah, email them, let them know what's going on, and obviously get involved. Go to city council meetings, call into city council meetings. There's a portion in every city council, at a city council meeting, I should say, where there's a public comment portion on the agenda. So you can actually call into your city's meeting and voice your opinion, your concerns about what's happening in your city. And it's documented and recorded. But I would follow that up, or even begin with an email first, copy to the city clerk, to all the city council members, and then the staff that it's appropriate to, that you're the subject you're talking about. But calling into a city council meeting, or when when we're able to attend meetings after COVID is over, subsided. That's the best way to get the attention of your city officials, and they will respond. I mean, especially if you start getting other people that are having maybe the same issues that you have, and you form a group, because obviously there's strength in numbers. But if you can't do that, always do the email thing and call into the city council meeting. That's the most important thing, and it does yield results. Not all the time, because obviously there's how can I say, not everybody, but a lot of city council people across the board, they honestly just don't care about people in their cities. They don't care about their constituents. It's and you'll hear me say it again and again. They only care about you when they're campaigning, but right after that election's over, they totally forget about it and go back to serving their masters, their sponsors, whoever donated to their campaigns. But Frank, to answer your question, again, look up on the city website. It'll have that information for you. You can get all their email addresses from there. And make sure when you send that email out, you put all 5 of your council members on there, copy the clerk so it becomes public record, and absolutely call into a city council meeting and voice your concerns there. Hope that helps. If not, shoot me a message and I'll be happy to follow up with you offline. Okay, our next question is, thank you for what you do, or for what you are doing here in our city. I download every week and tell my friends about it. I wanted to ask, how can I get the sidewalks fixed around my house? And that is from Maricela in Southgate. Maricela, I think it's Public Works that handles that. Now, obviously Southgate is a huge city, so these things happen, and most of the time they don't know of any issues, like especially like cracks in the sidewalk, or street repairs, potholes and stuff like that, unless we report them. So it's a good idea to call it in, and that number for Southgate Public Works, it's under it says street maintenance. You can call area code 323-563-5785. Again, it's street maintenance, 323-563-5785. And what I do also is, if I notice that when I call or report it and nothing happens, I'll call into a city council meeting and make sure I'm specific about the area of the street where it's at, because if it is a big issue, like I think it was the last one or the one before, there was a huge crack on San Juan by Tweedy, and yeah, to me it was going to be a liability, if somebody tripped on it, because it was that big. So again, it's always great to inform the city, let them know, because they don't know everything about sidewalks or potholes that happen. But if we report them, we at least we give them a heads up, and they can address that issue and hopefully fix it in a timely manner. Okay, our next question is, how can I make a difference? How can I get involved? I'm a freshman in business right now, and people are telling me I'm too young to do anything, and nobody would listen to what I have to say. And that is from Vicky in Southgate. Vicky, just to let you know, it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, how old you are. Your voice matters. Your opinion matters. Your opinion means just as much as my opinion does. Don't ever let that discourage you from saying anything or being involved. Like I said before to one of the other questions, you can always get involved attending or calling into city council meetings. Even a lot of the subcommittee meetings, like the planning, parks and recs, the CAC meetings. There's a lot of ways you can be involved in a positive way. But whoever's telling you that you're too young to do anything or nobody's going to listen to you, I can tell you right now that's wrong. Because you know what? I'll listen to you. I listen to everybody. Because you know what? Your opinions matter. What you think matters. What you say and how you feel matters. Just because I'm on here talking doesn't mean I'm any better than any one of you. You have a voice that is just as loud and strong as mine. Your opinions, your thoughts, even if you disagree with me, they matter. I learn a lot more from people that I disagree with than I do with people who agree with me. But Vicky, yeah, don't ever let that deter you or discourage you. It is don't let that be an obstacle. You're never too young. Never, never. In fact, I would be just the opposite. Like sometimes the older you get set in your ways and you form your own opinions. And it's kind of hard to look and see what other people are seeing, like having a little empathy of what other people's views are. So when you say that, or your people are like discouraging you, it's a total opposite. Because you have an opinion that maybe I've never heard about, or maybe I've never even thought of. And if I heard you say that, if I heard your opinion or your view, that might give me a different outlook on the subject that we're talking about. So, again, whoever's telling you that you can't make a difference, that you shouldn't get involved, yeah, they're just discouraging you. Don't ever and not just with being involved in your city, but in life, don't ever let anybody tell you you cannot do anything. You can do anything you want to do. You can accomplish anything. Don't ever let anybody discourage you. Never. I'll be right back. All right, that's the end of this episode. I want to thank you for tuning in again. I can't wait for next year. I got a lot of good things coming. I hope you all celebrate safely. Stay within the people that you know. Try and quarantine. Don't go out and party, please. This COVID is spreading like crazy. And have a great Happy New Year. I'll see you in 2 weeks.